The South Carolina Lowcountry is a place where natural beauty and history coalesce. Beneath the low-hanging live oaks, time stands still. The busy clamor of the outside world evaporates into a whisper. Nowhere is this embodied more fully than in the 9,000-acre sculpture garden south of Murrells Inlet, known as Brookgreen Gardens. Here, a collection of American figurative sculpture is set in one of the most pristine wildlife preserves in the country. It all started when the founders of Brookgreen Gardens, Archer and Anna Hyatt Huntington, traveled south in 1930 and purchased a stretch of land between the Waccamaw River and the Atlantic Ocean. What followed was, as Archer Huntington described it, a quiet joining of hands between science and art. From Brookgreen's humble beginnings to its current status as a National Historic Landmark lies a deeper story about the visionaries who made it all possible. When the Huntingtons first surveyed the property, they found a sleeping beauty that needed to be brought back to life. In the 18th century, along the Waccamaw River in Georgetown County, wealthy rice planters like William Alston established plantations. Alston's son Joseph served in the South Carolina House of Representatives and was elected governor of South Carolina in 1812. His wife Theodosia was the daughter of Aaron Burr. Just after his inauguration as governor, Theodosia boarded the schooner Patriot, sailing to New York City to visit her father. The ship mysteriously disappeared during the voyage, and neither ship nor anyone on board were ever heard from again. The 4 plantations that comprise Brookgreen today, Laurel Hill, Springfield, Brookgreen, and the Oaks, produced enormous quantities of rice.
Most of the plantations, like Brookgreen, came into being because of crops that plantation owners felt that would be cost-effective and profitable. About the mid-1700s, rice was introduced as that crop.
Rice became the cash crop during the 17 and 1800s because of the skills and knowledge of those West Africans brought from countries where rice had been grown successfully for hundreds and thousands of years.
They brought their culture, beliefs, and practices that became a major part of plantations like Brookgreen. Actually, Brookgreen Plantation became the largest of the rice plantations, numbering some 1,000 slaves at the time. It made their planters who owned rice plantations some of the richest men in the world.
The descendants of these enslaved West Africans are known today as the Gullah Geechee people. The Gullah Geechee corridor stretches from the Sea Islands of North Carolina to Florida.
These islands were surrounded by waterways. So whereas there may have been plantations with 100,000 or more Africans speaking a certain way and observing certain Afrocentric practices, in those communities there were 100 or fewer white people. That's why in Charleston, Georgetown, Savannah, Georgia, and other communities of the now Gullah Geechee Cultural Heritage Corridor, there are older whites who speak Geechee or Gullah fluently because they were raised at a time when there was a large West African presence in their communities. And their heritage has influenced American heritage.
Today at Brookgreen Gardens, African American history and culture are explored and brought to life at the Wall Lowcountry Center, the Lowcountry Trail, and the Gullah Geechee Garden. Programs like the Trekker Excursion allow guests to explore the locations of the 4 plantations that make up Brookgreen Gardens.
We have a strong emphasis on history here at Brookgreen. It originally started more than anything else as a sculpture garden, but over the course of time, they've decided to invoke history as part of the programs that we do here. Most people would look at this cemetery and go, well, it's an active cemetery. Why are there trees and brush and vegetation and things growing all over the place in here? Why isn't it neatly manicured like most cemeteries that you see?
The Gullah Geechee burial customs were very different from those of the European settlers of America. They didn't believe in building walls, cutting trees, or altering the landscape in any way. Graves are placed in wooded areas, and many are marked with personal items.
A burial practice of Gullah Geechee people has been when an individual dies, his or her personal effects will be placed atop the grave. A cook's spoon or a mixing bowl or a pipe or a fishing pole or a child's toy. The reason is, so it's believed that the person's spirit would not stay within the ground, but it would be released and should feel at home among his or her belongings.
We feel like it's a very important thing to educate the public about these sort of things. I think a lot of people in many cases probably would never see it unless they maybe came to Brookgreen Gardens.